The economic slowdown is no more a rumor. It is now a reality in India. First experts said it, then the media said it. Now the government's own numbers are saying it. New numbers have come out today. Second quarter GDP. Growth dropped to 4.5% in the September quarter. What does this mean? India's economy grew at its slowest pace in 6 years for the second quarter of this financial year. Why the slowdown? Because of low output and slow growth in manufacturing, mining and construction sectors. But for the market and the industry, these numbers are not surprising. They're in line with expectations. This is what was expected. The stock market saw it coming. Both the Sensex and the Nifty tanked today. The new data comes just after India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman conceded in Parliament that growth has slowed.
If you're looking at the economy with a discerning view, you see that growth may have come down, but it's not a recession yet, or it won't be a recession ever.
The first step towards fixing a problem is admitting that you have one. In recent months, the government has been scrambling to fix things. We've seen the finance minister hold multiple press conferences. Major announcements were made. Corporate taxes were cut. Banks were merged. The biggest privatization drive in more than a decade was launched. A special fund was set up to revive the real estate sector. The government was also in fact went back on many of its budget proposals. But so far, these measures have not delivered. What does this mean? The booster shots are no longer working. India's economy is suffering. The time to put band-aids is over. The situation demands a surgical strike, if you like, on the slowdown. For nearly 5 years, India was the fastest growing economy in the world under the Modi government. But now India has fallen behind China, Indonesia, even the Philippines. There are 3 clear reasons that are driving the slowdown. Consumption of goods has fallen. 60% of India's economy depends on consumption. Banks are in a mess, burdened with stressed assets, so lending has been slow and the global outlook looks bleak. So setting a target of a $5 trillion economy by 2024 is great, but going by this data, the $5 trillion target looks very far away. Do the math. We are nearly a $3 trillion economy today. India needs a growth rate of at least 9 to 10% for a sustained period. If it wants to add another $2 trillion in the next 5 years, that is how much the growth should be, 9 to 10 years. We have 4.5% right now. Clearly, the Indian government's response leaves a lot to be desired. The steps taken so far might create a climate for more investment, but they have not boosted demand, especially in rural India. The government's diagnosis of the problem is flawed, it seems. And that is why it is not being able to cure the economy. The most popular opinion today is to put more money into the hands of the people, concessions on taxes. This may not be easy. The government budget may not have the fiscal room to accommodate such a move. The finance minister on Thursday sought the parliament's approval to spend an additional 21,000 crores. She faces a tough choice between saving economic growth and mending the government's balance sheet. Former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh had a word of advice for the Modi government. He said that a GDP growth of 4.5% is unacceptable and managing headlines is not the solution.
India is now a $3 trillion global economy, economic powerhouse driven largely by private enterprise. It is not a tiny command and controlled economy that can be bullied and directed at will. Nor can it be managed through colorful headlines and noisy media commentary, shooting down messengers of bad news or shutting off economic reports and data as juvenile and does not behove a rising global economic powerhouse of the world economy.